Yes, now bless now, metalheads around the world. Dezrocksteady, King of the Pit TV, signing in with a little learning session. So class is in session, people. We're going to continue on with our delve within the Maiden history. That's Iron Maiden, in case you didn't know. Not a fair maiden who is longing for me to come and save her. Unfortunately, I've got other things to do, such as look into Iron Maiden's history. So, we did a past video on the history, the early history, early history of Iron Maiden, and then we moved on to the first album. Now we're looking at Killers. So I've done a reaction to each and every song off of Killers, which will be on this channel if you are interested. Now, in 1981, Iron Maiden released their second studio album, Killers. Although many tracks were written prior to their debut release, it had two new songs, Prodigal Son and Murders in the Rue Morgue. The latter's title was taken from the short story by Edgar Allan Poe. Unsatisfied with the production on their debut album, the band hired veteran producer Martin Birch, who would continue to work with Maiden until his retirement in 1992. The record was produced by the band's first world tour. The record was followed by the band's first world tour. These dudes are going on a world tour after the release of their debut album. And the band started when? Yeah, I suppose they've been going for a little moment at this point. So, that's crazy though, world tour. The Killer World Tour was we'll have a look into that, to be fair. The debut performance in the United States, opening for Judas Priest at the Aladdin Casino in Las Vegas, Killers marked the band's USA Albums Chart debut, reaching number 78 on the Billboard 200, and they booked 132 shows to promote the album. Maiden had a machine behind them from, not the get-go, because this is years into the history now. Now they're releasing records, but, you know, they've got a machine behind them relatively early into the game. The band visited Yugoslavia as a headliner of the Belgrade Festival, with 50,000 people in attendance, the first time the band played behind the Iron Curtain. What's the Iron Curtain? It is a political metaphor used to describe the political boundary dividing Europe into two separate areas from the end of the World War II in 1945 until the end of the Cold War in 1991. Right? I'm not going to get into the politics, I have no clue. During the summer, Iron Maiden played several festivals in Europe, including at the Golden Summer Nights 81 festivals in Zeppelinfield in Nuremberg, in front of 100,000 people. Sorry if I don't make too much sense, people. I'm a little tired, but we're going to have a look into the record factoids now. Let's see. We got limited information, so we're going to look at the world tour as well that accompanied the promotion of the record. Killers is the second studio album by English heavy metal band Iron Maiden. It was first released on the 16th of Feb 81 in the United Kingdom by EMI Records and on the 11th of May in the United States by Harvest and Capitol Records. The album was their first with Adrian Smith, their guitarist, and their last with vocalist Paul Di'Anno, who was fired after problems with his stage performances arose due to his alcohol and cocaine use. Jeez. Yeah, you know what? I approach Iron Maiden as very safe dad rock, straight and forward band. The idea of one of the band members being a cokehead is like crazy to me. Killers was also the first Iron Maiden album. What about Bruce Dickinson, people? Does he like a drink or does he stay off of it? Killers was also the first Iron Maiden album recorded with producer Martin Birch, who went on to produce their next 8 albums until Fear of the Dark. Shout out to my man Martin Birch. Killers is the only Iron Maiden album to feature 2 instrumentals. It was written almost exclusively by Steve Harris. Only Twilight Zone and the title track are co-written. Bar Murders in the Rue Morgue and Prodigal Son. The songs were written in the years prior to the recording of the debut album. So they had a long list of... It's sort of like... That's what Oasis did with Definitely Maybe and What's the Story, Morning Glory. Those songs were recorded professionally until the Killers sessions, with the exception of Wrathchild. A version recorded in 1979 was featured on the Metal for Mothers compilation. The Ides of March is nearly identical to Thunderburst by fellow British new wave of British heavy metal band Samson, who featured a pre-Maiden Bruce Dickinson on vocals. However, The Ides of March was written during the brief time in '77 in which future Samson drummer Thunderstick was a member of Iron Maiden. While Harris took sole credit for The Ides of March, Thunderburst is credited to Harris and all four members of Samson's head-on lineup: Bruce aka Bruce Dickinson, Chris Aylmer, Paul Samson, and Thunderstick, aka Barry Purkis. So there's a lot of crossover between the bands at this point. Killers spent 8 weeks in the UK chart. The North American edition, which came out a few months later, was initially released on Harvest Records / Capitol Records and subsequently on Sanctuary Records / Columbia Records. The song Twilight Zone was added to the album. The Killer World Tour featured the band's first United States shows beginning at the Aladdin. The Aladdin's famous. I've heard of the Aladdin. It's Planet Hollywood Las Vegas is a casino hotel. Alright, Las Vegas, rock on. In support of Judas Priest. Subsequently, Wrathchild is the only regularly played track from the album, appearing in almost all their tours. So they play more tracks from the self-titled than they do Killers. Covers. The song Wrathchild was covered in 2003 by the English heavy metal band, the English metal band Sikh, and featured as a B-side on their single Scent of the Obscene. The song was also covered in 2005 by female tribute band the Iron Maidens on their 2007 album Route 666, by Gallows on the 2008 tribute CD Made in Heaven, a tribute to Iron Maiden released by Kerrang, and by 6 Feet Under on the reissue of the '99 album Maximum Violence. Wrathchild was featured in PlayStation 2 game Guitar Hero Encore, Rocks the 80s. Man, I wish I had that one. I didn't have that. What's Guitar Hero Encore? I never even heard that. 80s numbers. I bet that's sick, man. I wonder what tunes we had on there. Right, there we go. Let's have a quick deke of this tour then. World tour. Is that a world tour or your girls tour? Where's the bloody info? I can't find it, people. The Killer World Tour. Come on now. From 17th of February 81 to the 15th of November 81. This would be the band's first world tour, including their debut shows in North America, where they supported Judas Priest on their worldwide Blitz tour and UFO on certain dates, and Japan, where they recorded the live release Made in Japan. On top of this, the band moved on to larger venues in the United Kingdom, including the Hammersmith Odeon London. This will be Iron Maiden's last tour with Paul Di'Anno, who was dismissed due to his unreliability. Bro, I'd be unreliable as well. If I was doing a tour to that extent, it'd just be women every single night. Label can pay for it, I don't care. I have no doubt they had a big bus. No doubt. It was replaced with Samson vocalist Bruce Dickinson, with whom the band undertook a short series of concerts in Italy and the UK before they set about writing and recording their next album, The Number of the Beast. Set list. They had 18 tracks in the set list. Man, these dudes were going mad. These dudes are professional and they put work in. I'm not going to look at all of the dates, but hey, they finished off in the UK. They started in the UK. Oh, well, yeah, they started in England and finished in England. Did 2 shows in London, the Rainbow Theatre and the Ruskin Arms. Iron Maiden performed a matinee and an evening concert. The show was in support of Jude. Okay. The tour was subject to a number of cancellations due to problems with Di'Anno's voice, causing 4 German dates to be cancelled and several Scandinavian dates to be rescheduled. According to band manager Rod Smallwood, the reason for the vocal issues were brought about adopting a rock star lifestyle, which Di'Anno states was because he couldn't see his way. He couldn't see his way to the end of the band's heavy schedule, and that he believed that this was what you were supposed to do in a big successful rock band. That's what it sold us. That's what it sold us. On the other hand, Steve Harris, the band's bassist, has since said that he did not know whether he was seeking attention or what, arguing that having to cancel shows because of personal problems was intolerable and ultimately cemented the animal. Yeah, I agree. Needs to go. What do you mean we're not performing? What do you mean? You know what I mean? None of that. So there we go. We had a little run through with Killers and the history surrounding that. We're going to delve into Success 81 to 85, where we've got The Number of the Beast, Peace of Mind, Power Slave, and Live After Death. We're going to get into the good stuff coming up next, people, alright? So I'll see you on the flip side. One love.